Hey, everybody. It's Friday. Happy Fancy Vagina Friday. And don't you sometimes seek words of wisdom to guide you through these hard times? And right now, I'd like to go ahead and play a little clip of somebody you all know and love to watch. Here we go.
I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past, but the future.
Oh boy. All right. Are you inspired? All right. So I was feeling, so it's like a little bit of, words of wisdom from Kamala Harris. I don't know what it does for me, but it kind of just makes me feel good. Anybody else? All right. There's some words of wisdom. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, Donald Trump is being indicted. I like to say indicted, right? Anybody else? I don't understand why the C is like, anyways, you don't make a predicament, right? You make a predicament. So I'm saying indictment. Try it, see how that fits. All right. So here we go. A lot of people are examining this indictment. And of course, I had to tune in. I tune in so you don't have to. Let's see what the brain trust over at The View has to say about this, shall we?
None of this makes any difference to me. What really is was really starting to freak me out is the idea that we're not even discussing changing the Constitution to make it say you cannot be in jail and be the president.
Well, that part.
I mean, because my fear
and an amendment would be nice.
I'm a big fan of amendments because I feel like unless we start to plug these holes, this is going to keep biting us in the behind. And it really is going to take the people saying, "Hey, listen," because if I can't vote when I come out of jail, why can you be president?
Yeah. That's a wonderful point.
All right. If I can't vote, it's almost like they're missing the point. It almost seems like they're missing the point about what's going on, as opposed to Carla. What is it? Carla Venezia says, also crazy being surrounded by Democrats who know the indictment is political and they're totally cool with that, whatever it takes. All right. So, Misha, any observations about The View and adding an amendment? Anything you want to add to that?
Oh, I agree with him.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Heretic. All right, here we go. We're going to go. I love that, they're all about the amendments. Okay, so let's continue here. I did not make you watch the whole clip. I've heard your screams at me going, why the whole thing? So here's another snippet. Okay, here we go. Whoopee.
As long as you have these feckless Republicans in the Law and Order Party ready to give this criminal a free pass and a get out of jail free pass, you're never going to, even an amendment. It's not going to change.
But the amendment will change how we deal with people who come up like this. That's what I want.
People who come up like this. Is she talking about people that are elected into office who come up like this? I'm not sure what she's talking. Or is she talking about Donald Trump rising to fame and fortune because he did The Apprentice and she doesn't like that journey to the office? So, and then, when you have Joy Behar talking about the feckless Republicans, isn't it all by design that they're all feckless? And that they're acting as if the problem is Donald Trump and not the corporations that are actually leading our country. Here we go. Let's continue with her.
In many respects, there are things that are coming up that we've never had to deal with before. So we're kind of walking around going, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Prologue.
Things are coming up that we've never had to dealt with before. You mean crimes committed by our government in the name of democracy? I mean, we don't have to go that far. We can go to the turn of the century, 2000, a 9/11 weapons of mass destruction that weren't there. All right, so no big deal. But she's like, we're having to deal with things that we never had to deal with before. Yes, we have. Yes, we have, and we have war criminals that are walking free. Let's continue with this.
We give power to George Santos, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz,
Oh, God.
all these horrible people, liars,
Yes.
anti-American traitors that they
Yes.
are. And they stop the progress of what you're talking about.
Well, I think there's enough of us to start screaming, saying, hey, there are problems.
There are people right now screaming that there are problems. What do you think January 6th was? Those were people that were demonstrating that there is a problem and a divide in our country. And, this is one of the shows that really capitalizes on dividing us.
I don't like everybody that gets elected, but there are lines. You can't cross this line.
You can't cross this line. Is she saying you can't cross the line once you've been elected to office? You can't cross the line to challenge the power structure? I'm not sure what she means by you can't cross this line.
I don't know that she knows what she means by you can't cross it. But at least we know that a lot of the country are feckless.
Yes.
And as long as we can get rid of them.
Yeah. We've got to get rid of those feckless elected officials. Hold on. Let's see this one. Walt says, I'm a gay Democrat, and even I find Trump's indictment a political witch hunt. You don't have to be a Republican or a genius to realize those in power are trying to make an example of Trump as a means to advise those who are not part of the establishment. And then Mary comes in and she goes, it's long time since we've been represented by our government. Now, I want to contrast the viewpoint of the View panelists with another elected official, Tulsi Gabbard. You know her. And so I just want to play a little bit for you of what she has to say about his indictment.
Facing an unprecedented moment where a sitting president of the United States has taken action abusing his power to direct the federal government and justice system to be used against his major political opponent in the midst of a presidential campaign, charging him with multiple crimes with an election right around the corner. This is not something that should happen in the United States of America.
Sounds like a third
and
world
it could
country.
be the final nail in the coffin of our democracy. Now, President Biden likes to talk to us about how he is a champion for democracy, both here in the United States and around the world. But when you look at his actions, it tells a very different story. Obviously, his administration's indictment of his primary political opponent and President Trump, and their ongoing efforts to target political opponents and limit free speech, these actions remind us of the things that we see more of in authoritarian regimes in other parts of the world, where it's almost commonplace to wield the power of the state to silence or eliminate opposition. Now, we know that the heart of a functioning justice system is that if a law is going to be enforced, it needs to be enforced equally across the board.
Sure. All for it.
That's not what we're seeing here.
What?
So my question for Biden supporters and the TV talking heads and pundits who are celebrating this indictment of President Trump, saying, hey, no one is above the law. My question for them is, where were you when James Comey decided not to charge Hillary Clinton with any crimes, even after speaking at great length about her many offenses, mishandling high-level national security documents? Where were your calls for accountability when President Biden himself was found to be holding classified documents in his own home and in other locations? Where were you when James Clapper and John Brennan lied under oath to the United States Congress? And what about the accountability for the 51 senior former intelligence officials who intentionally made this baseless public statement at the behest of the Biden campaign with the specific intent of withholding information, the content of Hunter Biden's laptop, from voters, labeling it as Russian disinformation? How many times have we heard that before? Because they did not want us to be influenced by what was there and potentially have that impact the way that we voted in that election.
Okay. I think she makes a strong case for that. You know, you know, in the back of my mind, I think, oh my God, how does Tulsi, you know, does Tulsi feel guilty that she ever endorsed Joe Biden? I mean, we have to have that conversation too, right? In the meantime, Joe Biden will be welcoming to the White House on June 22nd, Modi. Thought Modi wasn't supposed to be our country's friends. They gave Tulsi a lot of crap about Modi. But Modi will be visiting Biden. Okay, so it seems the thing that I'm walking away with is, you know, I heard a lot of people like to say that it's not nonsense that they're prosecuting Trump, that they're doing the indictment. It's not. It's not. But the idea of why do people still support Donald Trump is the question that they should be asking. That is the relevant question. Even if they see that this gentleman, you know, that Donald Trump seems criminal in his behavior, why are people still in support of Donald Trump? Why aren't they asking that question? Why aren't they going out there and asking these Trump supporters instead of vilifying them? All that I heard this week from National Public Radio was, oh, we're worried about the mobs and the potential violence that's going to happen outside of the, you know, the indictment that's happening in Florida right now. We're worried about all that. Why aren't they really concerned about why these people are there and feel so strongly about Donald Trump? And why does the American public they're not crazy about Joe Biden? I'm going to show one more clip. This is from one of the Mehdi Kazan, friend of the show. Here we go. He has a succinct way of looking at this. Hold on.
So this notion that the prosecution of a former US president is somehow a corrupt and partisan attack on the political opposition or a sign of democratic dysfunction is just nonsense.
It's just nonsense. So it's just nonsense what we're doing to Donald Trump. It's just nonsense. In the meantime, how many war criminals are walking free? So what I've heard is the whole argument is that Donald Trump has had a blatant disregard for the security of our nation by being so, you know, lackadaisical about these.
Feckless.
Feckless.
So feckless.
He's so feckless, right? So he's a blatant disregard for the security of our country. It seems to me the more wars that we are engaging in, that's the thing that's the detriment to our security here in America. And that's not nonsense, Mehdi. Take that.
Nonsense.
Bam. Nonsense.
Hey, come see us live on tour. Be in Bakersfield, Baltimore, San Francisco, Huntington Beach, Rosemont, and Chicago, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, New York City, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Stamford, Connecticut, and more.
Hey,
Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.